art journal pages, repeatable designs. I'm working on some new for me background techniques for my October journal page for Swap. For October, the theme of our art journal page for Swap was repeatable designs. I created a scissors repeatable design page video and uploaded it several weeks ago. In this video, I'm working with creating some new backgrounds for some more repeatable designs. I'm using a technique shown by Giselle Grenier in her Session 5 video of her Bob class, that's Book of Backgrounds, at artplace.ca. There's a link to it in the description area of this video. Wow, what fun this was. Everything came out shiny, metallic-y, messy, and the page backgrounds came out pretty good too. Hi, I'm not behind the steering wheel today. I'm working at my desk in my studio, and I'm going to work on an October page. Giselle Grenier, you all know Giselle if you're in creative art journaling. She's one of the owners of the Yahoo group Creative Art Journaling. I'm the other owner, and but she also teaches online art classes, and she has a class out there called Bob, Book of Backgrounds. And the first series of videos that she did on the backgrounds are free to you to look at, but then she does request a donation. So that's of your choice. So I'll just leave that up to you. I'm going to put the link in the description box down below. And I am going to base my backgrounds off of her technique in Session 5 of her Bob classes. I was watching them and I thought, wow, that's really fun. I think I'd like to try that with my October page. So I emailed her and I said, would you mind if I did that and referenced it in the video, the YouTube video I do? And of course she said, fine, that's great. The other thing is she uses and recommends for her professional painting. She does professional work. I do not do professional art. I'm too busy having fun with my art journaling. But anyway, she uses DecoArt's Traditions paints. And I had a hard time finding them around here, except I was in Joann's the other day. And oh, there they were. And they had a little trial. You can see this little trial package over here with about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. About 10 or 12 colors. And then they gave an extender and a glazing medium to go with it. I think there's 10 colors. And then the extender and the glazing medium. So that's just a nice trial size that I can try. And if you go out and look at her Session 5 class, you'll see that she pairs up her colors. She has a lighter one on the bottom and a darker one on top. So I chose what I had at home. I don't have everything that she used, but I have a shimmering silver. This is DecoArt's Metallics. And I paired it up with a Traditions Carbon Black. So this is going to be black and silver. Silver will be on the bottom, black will be on the top. This is White Pearl Metallic. That's going to be on the bottom. And then on the top is going to be, well, that's DecoArt's Metallic again. And then this is DecoArt's Traditions Ultramarine Blue. So this is going to be pearl and blue. And this one is DecoArt Dazzling Metallic Bronze. And I'm kind of interested in using this one because their bronze has got a green, it's a green tint to it. And I'm using bronze, used to bronze being more of a yellowish brown color. But I'm okay with this. And in here is, I'm going to pair it up with the Phthalo Blue. Now she uses something called, on her example, Glamour Dust. And this is DecoArt's. And I don't have any Glamour Dust. But I do remember that I was at Hobby Lobby and I always check the clearance bins, and I saw this and I said, oh, it's glittery, I'll try it, I'll use it for something. It's Purple Princess. Purple I like purple, but I'm not a huge purple palette person. Purple palette person. But I have some Glamour Dust to try, and she used it. So I paired it up with two things. I want to try it with the Red Violet DecoArts Traditions, and then I also have the Royal Ruby. I may use the DecoArts with both of these. Use the Royal Ruby, it just depends on how. I also pulled a Festive Red. It depends on how dark this Royal Ruby is. I'm not sure how Royal Ruby will go with Red Violet. So I may put the Festive Red behind the Red Violet and use the Royal Ruby over the Princess Purple. Royal Ruby and Princess Purple. Well, that sounds like they belong in the same family. So that's actually that's actually 5. I need another page. I got out my pages. Let me pull. I'm using Strathmore watercolor pages for the base, and I got it off of the pad. These blocks are interesting. I usually just buy the tablet, and you know, they've got the little wire binding at the top. But on these blocks, what you have to do, they have a little space right here in the center, and you have to break that page loose. And I try to break 3 or 4 of them loose. And I guess this is so that you can watercolor right on the pad, because it's glued on all 4 sides, except for this little spot right here in the center. And I suppose, you know how I tape my pages down to my craft mat when I work? Well, this is the same principle. This is glued on 4 sides to keep your page from buckling when you do watercolor on it, because you're applying a wet medium to it and the paper. We learned this, and I learned that many years ago in art class. But if you want to break it loose, you need to get your, and I'm just using my bone folder here. You need to just break it loose on all 4 sides. I'm going to have to try to do a wet media. Maybe one of my next pages, maybe one of my November pages, I'll do just right here on the pad instead of taping it down to the craft mat, and see how that works. But that's for November. Okay, so I have 5 sheets here. So I'm going to work with one at a time because I have limited space. And the first thing that she does, well, let me go over the supplies. I went over the paint. You'll need a water sprayer. This is just water in here, a little spray nozzle. She has an actual professional paint brush bucket. I have a sherbet container filled with water. You'll need your paints, baby wipes, brushes. She recommended using a wide flat brush, and then she went through her list of brushes. I just haven't, and you can tell this brush is still new. I haven't used it yet. A couple of flats. This one, don't ask me what numbers and all that, because I'm not a brush authority. Pretty sure this is the Royal and Langnickel. I keep calling it Langtree. It's Langnickel. So I will correct myself from now on, unless I slip. But I got 2 flats here, and then I've got a sponge brush, because when I apply my backgrounds, I normally use a sponge brush. And then she said to get paper towels. She said, don't use the cheap kind. Well, that's what I have. So sorry, I'm going to use the cheap kind. I don't know if they're the most cheap kind, so I may get away with it. But she said, try to get something that has texture in it, and this does have a pretty texture to it. I'm not sure you can see it. So I have my towels, and for myself, I'm going to add one more thing to this mix, and that's some blank tags, because I know from experience of Mary working on backgrounds that I always have more than enough, and I always end up doing several tags to work with later. Some people will put their extra paint into journals. I put them usually on tags. for now. So I'm going to, what shall I start with? The silver and the black? I think I'll start with this. Might as well get that black done right away, huh? Because, well, the silver, you have to do all the light stuff first, I guess. That's what she does. So I'm going to shake this up quite well because I haven't used these paints in a while. Now from this point on, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this into fast forward as a process videos or if I'm going to mix the two or not. So you may hear me talking as I work and referring to things, but I may stop the video and go to fast forward, and when I do that you won't hear anything, or you'll hear music, or you'll hear a voiceover. So I'm going to apply the paint on here. Now she used her large brush to apply it. I just kind of prefer my sponge brush. And of course I have wax paper. I have a silicone mat, which is actually an oven mat, over a piece of foam core, but I always put wax paper over that. So that's what and sometimes I put other paper over the top of my wax paper. But for now, I'm just going to, and this is going to be the background, so you just apply it evenly, and then you just let it dry completely. And I will put it aside. I have some gunk here. This paper towel is for me. Oh look, there's more gunk. Why did that come off the top of my bottle, I guess. Yeah. And she did say this dries fairly fast, so probably by the time I get my other 4 pages done, this will be dry. But I want a fairly shiny coat on this. And my page, the size of our journal pages is 8 by 10, and the page that I'm working on is 9 by, let me get it out here. See if they say 9 by 12. So I'm going to have an inch on one side and 3 inches on this side after I size it down. But I'm going to put a little bit more metallic in the center because I'll probably be cutting either off of the side. Let's see. I guess I want more metallic on here, is what I'm saying. I want a nice coat on it. But I'll be cutting this down depending on how my design works. And then I'm just going to pull out one of these tags and use it like I would in my journal and just squeeze off as much out of this sponge before I put it in the water as I can. Might make a pretty Christmas tag with a silver background. Goodness, I could do the same technique on the tag as I'm doing on my page, couldn't I? Come to think of it. But I won't have as thick a coat of, because I'm just kind of getting excess paint off of the tag. We'll just throw that over there. Now I'm gonna set this aside to dry. I believe I got it pretty good coated on it. I'm gonna set it aside, let it do its thing. Clean up my water brush over here. I probably should have my water closer up to me so I don't do the big old reach across the table. Squeeze my sponge out, and I don't care if some of that silver gets on the background of my next page. Isn't that interesting? Silvery water in there, metallic water. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next page, and you can see I've got silver up in here, but Like I said, if it gets on the background, I'll be painting that over anyway. So, let's clean off my... And the next is, I haven't even opened this one yet. Let's see if I can... I had some, very seldom have the extra money at the end of the month. I usually have more month at the end of my money than money at the end of my month. But I had a little extra money one month, and I went out and I bought several, it was several months ago. I bought bottles of metallic paints because I wanted a stash of them and I didn't have any, so I bought several colors. And some of them, like this pearl one, I have not opened yet. Shake it up good. Does it have a... No. Looks like it's pretty well... Okay, I might get some silver in here, but we'll see. Now this is going to be a whitish metallic. I'm going to put a lot on there. And let's just clean this. Oops. I guess I didn't get it too bad there. Trying to clean off the cap and roll the bottle in the paint. Isn't that cool? Okay. I didn't say I was perfect. Oh, I got nice pretty silver fingernails now. You know how these craft hosts get all their professional manicures? Heck, I just use DecoArt's metallic paint. Okay, I'm back. I got interrupted by a phone call. My 2 pages that I painted the background, metallic background on, was silver, DecoArt's Dazzling Metallic Silver. I gave it a second coat. I wanted to be sure that it was thoroughly coated, but you can see it's pretty shiny now. I also wanted to show you these pages have had some time to dry. Set this one over here. See, if you don't tape these pages down, they warp a little. And this is pretty thick, heavy paper. But if you don't tape them down while you're working on them, the paper can warp as it gets wet. So I'll be trimming these up and collaging on them, but I'll probably have to put them under some weight before I send them off. So I'm pretty sure that these 2 are dry. The pearl, you can see that it's a little bit lighter shade than I'm hoping that you can see. This is the pearl and this is the silver, but they're both metallic. So they're thoroughly dry. I have 2 more that I want to do. Okay, so I get out my papers here and I'm going to work with this DecoArt's bronze metallic. It's an older bottle. It's even got an old label. I got it on sale. I had to clean out some of the gunk and shake it up really good. I didn't like the coverage, so I put a little bit more on there. A little bit better, but then I added some red metallic to that, and I add some pearl metallic, and then I think I add some silver metallic. So this is very much a multicolored background. Do an extra tag just to clean up my paint there. I set that aside and clean off my sponge brush, and I get out this Dazzling Purple Princess Glimmer Dust, and I add some Royal Ruby Red Metallic to that. I really like that color. It comes out to be a coppery color, and you'll see that I do just about all the rest of my pages with this. I think I mix in some other colors as I'm working, but there I'm using the silver and the Royal Ruby, which is just about the same tone. Kind of giving them a good coat. Do an extra tag to clear off use up my paint. And then I get a couple of the other backgrounds out and do some more of the same. I have a lot of coppery backgrounds, but that's completely okay with me. The more the better. That's my palette. So I have a lot of sheets of those. At this point, all the metallic backgrounds have dried, and I'm ready to work with the second layer of the page. I will work through a black and silver page, and then set the video fast forward through the rest of the coppery background pages. Okay, so we're going to go with the black on here. We want water, and we want our spray bottle, our baby wipes, and this is my hand towel. We want towel to pick up the paint with, if I understand right. I've not done this technique, but what I understand is that this paint has to be fairly wet. You don't want it to dry out too much. You don't want it too dry, and you don't want it too wet. So let's just paint it fast, fairly fast here. Give it a nice coat. That's a pretty coat of it, isn't it? Now I'm just going to set my brush down now. She said to give it 30 seconds. I'm just going to dribble some water on it. Now, I understood if it's too dry it won't pick up, and if it's too wet it'll pick up everything. Let's see how that works. This could be a complete failure. Ooh, but I don't think it's going to be, because look what's happening here. Ooh. Oh, let's put some more water around here. I want more water, ma'am. I'm a splashy person. Oh, yeah. Ooh, very nice. Now, she said you could use the baby wipe, but I think I'll just use this towel to kind of pick up some. Now, remember that this is going to be an 8 by 10 page, and the base page here is 9 by 12. So I'm going to have to pick out the area here that I want. Who said I wasn't going to get messy hands? Shall I? You know, you know what I'm wanting to do? Some browns. I haven't opened my browns yet. How about a raw umber? Let's see if I can't put a raw umber on there. One of my first impressions with this sample Deco Arts was the first couple bottles that I picked out had the little plastic coating, a big piece of it up here, and I could just get my fingernail out of it and open it without having to tug and pull. And I wish that the paint companies, when they seal these, if anybody from paint companies is listening to Mary Abrams, I wish they would put a tab on there so you could just pull it and you don't have to cuss at it. I'm going to try a little raw umber on top of this. That might have been might be a little bit too dark, but and 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, won't this make a nice journal page background? Why waste it? Just sprinkle some water over it. Mary likes lots of water. This is why the pages warp. Let's set this towel aside and Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ooh, and you do get the texture in there. You cannot see the texture probably, but I can see the texture off of this paper towel. Now, I think I will go in with a baby wipe in these areas here. Let's pull out a baby wipe and kind of see if I can't distress a little bit more in here. Just by lifting up some of the, although I'll probably use this area. And I'm not sure putting that brown on top of the black was exactly the best thing to do. Where's my baby wipe? Remember, this is the first one I've done, so I'm pretty happy with it. Isn't that pretty? Now, this was black and silver. Look at the back. Woohoo! What do you think? Shall I spray some? If I spray some bronzer. That kind of gives it a, tones it down to the, let me reach over here for my doll again. You can't see it as well as I can. If I could lift it up, let's blot it. See how much you can see of it. Can you see the bronze tones? Kind of bronzy tones in there. Yeah, I like that. I'm glad I made that metallic bronze spray. Very good. Now, but that was with a silver background. And on these others, we have a copper red background. So we're going to need a pretty dark color. I think I'm going to use these paper towels. That's the baby wipe. And these are my clean towels. This goes on top of here. Put these over here. We're going to need a pretty dark color. And I can see the pretty shimmery with that dazzling. This is the ruby red metallic and the glamour dust. And I don't know how much you can see of the glamour dust. Yeah, you can see it. See how sparkly it is? So let's try the ultramarine blue. I want to try to keep these. Where's my dirty baby wipe? Dirty baby wipe. Poo, poo. You didn't hear that. Let's clean that off. I'm going to try the ultramarine blue on here. Okay, I'm ready to finish doing the rest of my coppery sheets. I'm using Deco Arts Traditions paints. This is a ultramarine blue. Splatter with water. Use the paper towels to create the texture. And just look at that background. Blue over the copper. It's very pretty. On the next sheet, I'm going to use the red violet, and I mix a little of that ultramarine blue in there, and I have a two-tone color of reds and blues. Splatter of water, use my paper towels to lift it up. Another pretty background over that coppery paper. On this one, I'm using a green color. I think it's the phthalo green. Over the copper, another sheet of copper background. Splatter with water and use my paper towels to lift it up. I spray some bronzer on that one. Another dark phthalo blue and ultramarine blue mixed. And those are copper backgrounds on there. And I do a tag. On this one I'm using a gold metallic and a phthalo green, or a green, and then I think I mixed the phthalo green with it. There it comes, a darker phthalo green. Create 2 tags with the same technique, splattering the water and lifting up with the towels. Very, very fun technique. Got some texture going there. Now I'm just cleaning up my towels. And you saw me do all the backgrounds the other day. Look at these beautiful, beautiful backgrounds. This is a reddish colored one, and I think this is the one that I'm going to work with. But here I have another copper and black one, and kind of a bronzy copper green one, and another copper and black. I just love these backgrounds. Aren't these beautiful? So I have a lot to work with. I got these, I did these from following Giselle Grenier's Bob Book of Backgrounds Session 5 video. If you go to artplace.ca, you will see she has several classes, but she also has a series of videos that she's offering that she's calling Bob and Doug. And she's got her Bob sessions up now, and these are pages that I did by following along on her Session 5 video, and I'm just thrilled with them. Now I think this page is dry enough that I can work with it. I need to make an 8 by 10, and I think I put my cutter away. I think I'll use this area, or I could use that area, but I think I like this area. Or do I like this area? Okay, there's 8. All right. Thank you for watching me do these backgrounds. I will be uploading another video where I show how I use them as base backgrounds for doing more repeatable designs for my October journal page swaps. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I plan to be doing a lot more art videos. Thank you.